goes the buzzer. We're underway with this first reperchage for the lightweight men's single sculls. Looks like a clean start across the field. Beautiful flat conditions up there at the start. Wind conditions through the course of today will be reducing as the day goes on. So fingers crossed we still have some fast times through this afternoon as we saw this morning. Now looking across the field, we've got James McCullough in one of the favoured centre lanes here. He had performed the best of these athletes racing in this reperchage, so got the first pick, and I spoke to him earlier outside the athlete lane selection. He was certainly a fan of the concept of athlete lane selection, and he chose one of the centre lanes because he wanted to be in the middle of the action. So we'll see how this progresses, but out in front at the moment, it's local favourite Artur Mikolajczewski.
Proszę Państwa, 400 metrów już za zawodnikami i na pierwszym miejscu Artur Mikołajczewski. Niesamowicie szybki, mocny start w wykonaniu Polaka. W tej chwili płynie on tempem 40 pociągnięć na minutę. Na drugim miejscu w tej chwili reprezentant Niemiec i tuż za nim reprezentant Japonii. Z kolei zaskoczenie reprezentant Stanów Zjednoczonych, który jako pierwszy wybierał tor. W tym wyścigu wybrał trzeci centralny tor, jednak w tym momencie wydaje się, że jest na końcu stawki. My patrzymy jednak na tor czwarty, gdzie Polak Artur Mikołajczewski powiększa z każdym kolejnym chwytem swoją przewagę. Już w tej chwili 10 metrów przewagi nad płynącym na miejscu drugim reprezentantem Niemiec.
Well, they're already nearly 500 meters in. Mikolajczewski looking good out in front, starting to drop the rating down into a good race rhythm here, down to 36, 37, keeping that boat speed high. And we can see them passing through 500 meters here. It's over a length already over the currently level Germany's Finn Volter, and for Portugal, Paulo Fidalgo, almost absolutely level for second and third. Then we've got Japan's Haruya Yasui and James McCullough for the USA. So a great start to this race for Poland's Artur Mikolajczewski.
Proszę Państwa, zawodnicy zbliżają się do linii 1000 metrów, 500 metrów, 600 już za nimi i wciąż na prowadzeniu bez zmian. Fantastyczny wyścig Polaka Artur Mikołajczewski. W tej chwili już 12 metrów przewagi, za nim tuż obok płynie Niemiec, ale Polak widzi, co się dzieje i w tej chwili tempem 37-38 mknie na półmetek tego wyścigu. Proszę Państwa, Polak, Niemiec i na miejscu trzecim, ale daleko, daleko w tyle reprezentant Portugalii.
Well, Poland couldn't have wished for a better start for Artur Mikolajczewski in this race, but they're going through 7:50 at the moment. My name's Peter Hanlon. I'm joined up here in the tower by Natalia Szymkowiak, and then out there on the course at the 1000 we've got double Olympic gold medalist Tomek Kucharski with Robert Trahan-Jones. So good afternoon, Robert. I hope you had a good lunch.
Hello, Pete. Yes, very warm welcome to this afternoon's racing here at Poznan. And for the first time in these reperchage, we will see crews put out of contention for the medals later in the programme, because only the first three across the line in this first rep will proceed to the AB semi-finals and a chance to progress further in the competition. And great news for the home crowd here in Poznan, because Artur Mikolajczewski, out of last year's Olympic lightweight double scull, is proceeding in cracking form down the centre lane with clear water advantage ahead of the German to his left, Finn Volter, out of the gold medal under 23 quad last year. These two scullers well clear of the field.
Na prowadzeniu na 1000 metrów Artur Mikołajczewski z przewagą około długości łodzi nad Niemcem, następnie Portugalczyk, Amerykanin i na końcu stawkę zamyka Japończyk. Przypomnijmy tylko, Artur Mikołajczewski startował w Belgradzie w Pucharze Świata, zajął 4. miejsce razem z kolegą z dwójki podwójnej wagi lekkiej, a na 5. torze naciska go Niemiec. I to jest zawodnik, który w 2001 roku na Młodzieżowych Mistrzostwach Świata w Racicach zdobył 1. miejsce.
Now, believe it or not, looking at this morning's heat times, it was the American James McCullough who was the fastest of these five, some 8 seconds faster than the Polish sculler, but that position completely reversed because McCullough vying for that vital third qualifying slot alongside Paulo Fidalgo, the Portuguese sculler, who was way out of the running on this morning's times, but he is more than making up for it when it really counts here in this reperchage. The USA and Portugal absolutely level now for that vital third place, but no, the American McCullough has pulled ahead. He's up the rate to 38 strokes a minute, outpacing the Portuguese sculler by some 4 pips. He's got the boat speed to match, but it's still Mikolajczewski leading the way home for Poland.
Mikolajewski quick off the line. He's been able to hold that advantage. As you said, Robert, it's 3 to advance on to semifinal A, B. So the race for third is happening right before our eyes. It's looking really good for Poland. Germany still holding that second place position. That's Finn Volta of Germany out of lane 5. And then the USA, McCullough, starting to make his move and really solidify that third place position, but a bit of a slow start for him.
Mikołajczewski tym razem tutaj nie pozostaje nic, żadnych wątpliwości. Polak od początku prowadzi, to już 3 długości łodzi przewagi nad drugim młodzieżowym mistrzem świata, Niemcem Finem Wolterem, reprezentantem Ruder Klub Witten. Nasz reprezentant z kolei od zawsze startuje Gople Kruszwica i od zawsze trenerem jest Kazimierz Naskręcki. No i pan Kazimierz na pewno ma teraz powody do zadowolenia, bo Artur pewnie prowadzi i na pewno wygra ten wyścig.
So Poland holding on to that first place, Germany still running second, and it's looking good for McCullough. He's able to seemingly hold on to that third place position. The lightweight men's single sculler from University of Delaware, rowing at Texas Rowing Center, and originally from Philadelphia. So we'll see if the Portuguese Pete can put up a sprint for that third spot.
That's the key question. What's Paulo Fidalgo got in reserve for this 250 metres left to the line and possibly a place into the AB semi-final? We've got James McCullough in that danger seat at the moment, but I think he's able to look back quite confidently and see what he'd need to do if that final charge came from the Portuguese athlete.
Proszę Państwa, duże polskie emocje tutaj na prowadzeniu. Artur Mikołajczewski już w tej chwili pewnie spokojnie o zwycięstwo w tym biegu i awans do jutrzejszego półfinału. Na drugim miejscu reprezentant Niemiec i proszę Państwa, Stany Zjednoczone, Portugalia, drugie, trzecie, czwarte miejsce, ale tutaj już chyba za mało czasu, aby reprezentant Portugalii zawalczył o awans do półfinału. Mamy to, proszę Państwa, zwycięzcą tego biegu Artur Mikołajczewski, Polak. Gratulacje!
Artur Mikołajczewski takes the win, 2 lengths up on Germany's Finn Volta, who's got a length up on James McCullough for the USA. Those 3 progress through to the AB semi-final. We'll then see Portugal's Paulo Fidalgo race in the C final, joined by Japan's Yasui Haruya. The second of the 2 reps for the lightweight men's singles already shooting its way down the course. We have in lane 1 for Finland, Kasper Hirvelampi. Lane 2 for Australia, Oscar McGuinness. Lane 3 for Hungary, Tamas Benche. And in lane 4 for Uruguay, Felipe Kluver Ferreira.
Proszę Państwa, drugi bieg repasażowy w tej samej konkurencji. Na torze pierwszym Finlandia, na torze drugim Australia, na torze trzecim Węgry i na torze czwartym Urugwaj.
Not much separating these 4 athletes, and crucially, places 3 and 4 as they come up through 900.
Yes, and Oscar McGuinness, the new Australian find, making his international debut here on the Malta Lake, is leading this 4-boat flotilla, racing for 3 places in the semi-final. So it's another of those races where it pays not to be last. McGuinness currently striking, 35 strokes a minute, maintaining that boat speed and crucially half a length up on Tamas Benche, the Hungarian, in the lane immediately to his left, who in turn has 3/4 of a length advantage ahead of Kasper Hirvelampi of Finland. So all the pressure point on the Uruguayan sculler Felipe Kluver.
Australijczyk na 1000 na prowadzeniu. Drugie miejsce w tej chwili Węgier, na trzecim miejscu Urugwajczyk i zamyka stawkę na torze pierwszym Fin. Przypomnijmy, Urugwajczyk to finalista Igrzysk Olimpijskich z Tokio, gdzie w dwójce podwójnej startował z będącym już w finale jego partnerem, a Węgier, startując w jedynce w swojej konkurencji na Pucharze Świata w Belgradzie, zajął 9. pozycję.
McGuinness reduced his rate of striking to 34 now, but he's still got the boat speed to match. Tamas Benche moves up in terms of stroke rate. I've got him up at 37, so he's making for a bit of a charge because he knows that behind him, this race between Hirvelampi and Kluver for that vital 3rd place isn't going to go away anytime soon. But it's Kluver who really has the edge now, the pressure point on the Finnish sculler. Now, can he up the rate, up the boat speed down towards 1500?
They're closing in on that last quarter of the race, not quite there yet, and looks great for Australia. Oscar McGuinness holding on to that margin, but the fight for third continues. Hungary, Uruguay, so close. It's looking a little bit surprisingly like the Finnish sculler Hirvelampi at this point out of contention.
Na prowadzeniu młodzieżowy mistrz świata z 2019 roku w dwójce podwójnie razem z Michelem Hardem, czyli Oscar McGuinness. Guinness na prowadzeniu, a później dwóch zawodników, którzy go atakują, to są Tamas z Węgier oraz Fini Hirvelampi. Z tyłu, troszeczkę z tyłu reprezentant Urugwaju, Urugwajczyk jest jednak, na trzecim miejscu, a z tyłu wyraźnie Hirvelampi z Finlandii.
Perhaps Casper Hirvelampi accepting that he'll move on to the C final because at this point the rest of the field just continues to press on away from him. Pete, they're coming towards you toward the last 250-meter mark, and a great race for Tamas Bencha of Hungary, outperforming the last round and what we saw on paper.
Yeah, great race for the Hungarian, and exciting to see as well that we've got the Aussie and the Uruguayan level at the front of the field. Nothing to separate them. We'll see whether they put in a bit of a sprint finish here to see if that just sets the record between them for latter rounds of competition. No discernible change in the rhythm or rating, but it looks as though we'll see Casper Hirvelampi progress through to the C final. And for those not familiar with it, C final contends places 13 through 18 in the World Cup rankings from this event here in Poznan.
Proszę Państwa, wydaje się, że te pierwsze trzy miejsca, które dają awans do półfinału, są już rozdane mocno, wysoko w stawce. Urugwaj na drugim miejscu, Australia na trzecim miejscu, Węgry. Fin już raczej poza walką o półfinał i jutro popłynie w finale C. Proszę Państwa, ostatnie metry i tutaj widzimy, że już spokojnie dopływają reprezentanci Urugwaju i Australii.
Crossing the line for the win then, we've got Felipe Cluve Ferreira winning this second reperchage for the lightweight men's singles, half a length up on Oscar McGuinness for Australia, who then has a length and a half of clear water ahead of Tamas Bencha for Hungary. Those three go through to the AB semi-final to see which final they will end up in on Sunday, and we'll see Casper Hirvelampi in Final C. Moving promptly on now, we're on to the first reperchage for the lightweight women's double sculls. We've got five boats lined up here, where we've got Denmark, Poland 1, France, Poland 2 and Norway.
Proszę Państwa, i kolejny wyścig z udziałem Polaków, tym razem dwójka podwójna kobiet kategorii lekkiej. Na torze pierwszym Dania, na torze drugim Polka, na torze trzecim Francuski, na torze czwartym Polki i na torze piątym Norwegia. Proszę Państwa, te trzy pierwsze miejsca dadzą awans do jutrzejszego półfinału i w tej chwili Polki wysoko w stawce. Dwie osady płyną bardzo wysoko. Pozostałe osady Dania i Norwegia w tej chwili czwarte, piąte miejsce, no już prawie 20 metrów poza stawką. Tak więc prawdopodobnie będą dwa polskie awanse. Patrzymy na dalszą część tego wyścigu.
Well, they're coming up towards halfway, and a bit more of a discernible line between those that will be going through to the AB semi-final and those that will go through to the C final here, Robert.
Race because we've got two Polish doubles being separated by France. That's the leading trio. Poland 1, followed by France, then Poland 2. Now these four Polish athletes, they raced as two separate doubles as Belgrade 3 weeks ago, finished in third and fourth overall. The Polish selectors have decided to muddle things up and see which crew combination works best. If they go level to the line, I just wonder who's going to be selected for future regattas, because no doubt France are going to have something to say about that. Aurélie Morizot and Susanna Duncan there in the stroke seat. They were looked very strong contenders earlier today, but 6 seconds slower than Poland 2 on that occasion. Susanna Duncan, of course, as many viewers might remember, she was very much the face of the regatta at the Senior World Championships at held at Aigues-Belette back in 2015. But it really is game on here, with those three doubles still within 5 or 6 feet, 1.5, 2 meters of each other as they approach 1,500 meters.
Closely packed as they come toward where we're positioned at 1,500 meters down, moving through the third quarter so well. It's the Polish 2 crew, France and Polish 1, and truly it is your pick for who's ahead. Those three are at the top of the field.
Dwie polskie osady pewnie awansują do półfinału, ale tutaj jeszcze trzeba przepłynąć te 600 metrów i teraz francuski z dwóch stron dwie polskie osady płyną koło siebie równiutko, tak jakby się dogadywały teraz panie między sobą, która wygra z tych trzech osad. Równiutko płyną, za chwilę dystans 1500 metrów. Na czwartym torze prowadzi osada nasza minimalnie przed francuskami i o dzióbek łodzi przed drugą naszą osadą, czyli Kasia Wełna i Wiktoria Kalinowska przed francuskami, Duncan i Marizo i później Jessica i Zuzanna, ale te różnice są tak minimalne, że za chwilę może być zupełnie odwrotnie.
And you can hear the excitement in Vladik's voice as those two Polish crews come down. Really great to see them all cross quite level at the 500. But Pete, as we can see now, a little bit of spacing, so that's starting to change. It's Poland 2, then back to France, and Poland 1, looking like those three will clearly move on.
It's a bit of a Poland sandwich here with France stuck in the middle, doing their best to come out on top. But all three of these boats highly likely to progress through to the AB semi-final because it's the first three to go through. So we're looking at that dividing line back to current fourth place held by Denmark ahead of fifth place Norway. So it's a bit of a battle for pride of place amongst these three leading boats. But what a performance by Kalinowska and Wellner for Poland 2, now starting to really eke themselves out a comfortable lead.
Proszę Państwa, i kolejny wyścig, gdzie liczymy na polskie zwycięstwo. Kasia Wełna i Wiktoria Kalinowska mkną po zwycięstwo. Już w tej chwili 10 metrów przewagi nad drugimi Francuskami i na trzecim miejscu znowu reprezentacja Polski Jessica Sobocińska i Zuzanna Jasińska. Wszystkie te trzy osady awansują do jutrzejszego półfinału i będą walczyć w niedzielę o kolejne starty, o finały. Proszę Państwa, ostatnie metry na prowadzeniu Polska, zaraz za nimi Francja i na trzecim miejscu ponownie Polska.
Last few strokes and Poland 2 are going to take the win. We'll find out just now by how much. It's just under a length ahead of France, who have half a length up on Poland 1. So those three secure their places into the AB semi. Fourth place is Denmark ahead of fifth place Norway. They'll go through to the C final. On then to the second reperchage for the lightweight women's double sculls. We've got Japan 1 in lane 1, Japan 2 in lane 2, Germany in 3, Czech Republic in 4 and the Netherlands in lane 5.
Proszę Państwa, drugi bieg repasażowy w tej samej konkurencji dwójek podwójnych kobiet kategorii lekkiej. Na torze pierwszym Japonia, na torze drugim także Japonia, na torze trzecim Niemcy, tor czwarty to Czechy i na torze piątym Holandia.
800 meters in already. The Netherlands out in front, not by much, leading Germany.
Indeed, Martine Veldhuis and Fedra van den Molen were the fastest of these five doubles in this morning's racing. So remarkably unlucky, I would suggest, to miss a direct place to the semi, but here they are in the rep and doing what's necessary, leading the way home on the grandstand side in lane 5. Behind them, well, Germany looking strong. Romy Dreher and Kathrin Volk just 1 second shy of the Dutch time earlier today, and Germany some 2/3 of a length up on the Czech Republic in third.
Na 1000 metrów minimalnie prowadzą zawodniczki z Holandii, zaraz za nimi Niemki i na trzeciej pozycji minęły 1000 metrów zawodniczki z Czech. To przypomnijmy, są zawodniczki, które w Pucharze Świata w Belgradzie w tej konkurencji zajęły 6. miejsce i one te pierwsze 3 osady zmierzają i zdecydowanie prowadzą nad zawodniczkami z Japonii.
The leading positions unchanged, trailing the field. The two Japanese doubles pretty much level pegging. So another interesting query for the Japanese selectors. 4 athletes to choose from. The only one with international experience is Tomita Chaiki, out of last year's Olympic double. And she's sitting there with her partner Hiruchi Emi, but absolutely vying level pegging with the other Japanese double in the lane right alongside. But they've got their work cut out if they're going to come back on the leaders. Still, the Netherlands lead the way home, Colleen.
The Netherlands looking really good in this third quarter of the race, moving toward the last stretch. They're at the lowest striking rate of all of the crews in the field, so a long, cool and collected 34 strokes per minute and moving along the course. Well, not quite the quickest because that battle between Japan in the back, running in fourth and fifth, still going on, but the 1, 2, 3, it's the Netherlands, Germany, Czech Republic.
Ciekawa rywalizacja teraz w czwórkach, w dwójkach podwójnych wagi lekkiej. Pani na prowadzeniu, Holenderki przed ekipą Republiki Federalnej Niemiec, którą przywiózł tu oczywiście pan trener Marcin Witkowski. Romy Dreher i Katrin Folk. Romy to nie tylko bardzo dobra wioślarka, ale także kiedyś pływaczka na 400, 800, 1500 metrów stylem dowolnym. Zatem ona bardzo lubi wodę. No i tu potwierdza to na razie Holenderki, Niemki na drugim miejscu. Później ekipa Czech.
Fantastic to see those two Japanese crews row side by side together through the 1,500 meter down. Up at the top of the field, though, dropping it just another beat is this crew from the Netherlands, Phaedra van der Molen in the stroke seat, just 19 years old. So, Pete, it's looking really nice for the Netherlands out ahead, isn't it?
Yeah, great race for them. They've been leading all the way from the start, essentially. So they'll be looking to really establish their dominance in this reperchage and build a little bit of confidence when it goes through to the semi-finals tomorrow. And they've built up a solid lead. They've got just over a length up on Germany, and then there's perhaps a canvas back to the Czech Republic. These three crews looking pretty safe for the AB semis.
Proszę Państwa, ostatnie metry tego wyścigu i tutaj bez dwóch zdań na prowadzeniu Holandia. Proszę Państwa, drugie miejsce w tej chwili Niemcy, Czechy na trzecim miejscu. Te 3 miejsca są ważne, bowiem one dają awansy do półfinału. I wydaje się, że już tutaj nic się nie zmieni, chociaż ta walka między Niemcami i Czechami cały czas trwa.
Last 100 meters, and the Netherlands not looking too pushed to be holding on to this lead, so that really will give them a bit of confidence for the latter rounds of competition as they maintain this just over a length lead over Germany coming into the last 50 meters now. Pressure coming because here come Japan over on the far side up to 37. Are they going to be able to draw level with the Czech Republic in the last few strokes? The Netherlands are going to cross for the win, securing the first place through to the AB semi. Germany are going to hold on to second, and they've got half a length on the Czech Republic. And despite a great surge from Tomita and Hirochi of Japan, they finish up fourth place, just a canvas down on the Czech Republic. And then fifth place, we have Japan too. So we'll see them race in the C final. So that was the lightweight women's doubles. We've now got the first reperchage for the lightweight men's double sculls, where we've got India 2, Estonia, Norway 2, France 2, and Japan 1.
Proszę Państwa, pierwszy z dwóch biegów repasażowych dwójek podwójnych mężczyzn kategorii lekkiej na torze pierwszym Indie, na torze drugim Estonia, tor trzeci to Norwegia, tor czwarty Francja i tor piąty Japonia.
Well, France were leading at 500 in, but Japan have had a great second 500 and have moved out to the lead, approaching the 1,000.
They have indeed. Takeda and Miura are really moving on very fast indeed. They're up at 38 strokes a minute, the fastest strike rate of any of the 5 doubles on the course, and that is reaping dividends because they've gone half a length clear of France 2, Verger and Savete on the lane immediately to their right.
Na prowadzeniu na 1000 Japonia, która bardzo wysoko wiosłuje w tempie w tej chwili prawie 39 uderzeń na minutę i prowadzi w środku dystansu. Zaraz za nimi są Francuzi, na trzeciej pozycji Norwegowie, na czwartej Indie i stawkę zamyka w tej chwili Estonia.
Well, we know the French are no slouches. They're out of last year's under-23 silver medal quad, but they really are pushing the leading Japanese duo pretty hard now. The race for third, well, that is currently being won by Holm and Söderl in the centre lane 3. They put in a couple of World Cup performances last year, picked up a bronze medal at Sabadia, but we haven't seen much of them since. But here they are right in contention for a place in the semi-final. Still, Japan leading.
Japan leading and really working for it. They're up at 39 strokes per minute. And as we look across at speed, well, at the moment, they're one of the fastest moving boats on the course, but that kind of changing a little bit with the crew from France and Norway. So they'll need to keep an eye. Certainly it's 3, as we know, to move on. So they're in good contention. But ideally, of course, they'd like to have their bow ball on the right side of that line if they can. It's Japan leading 1,500 down.
Widać tutaj rękę trenera Xaviera Dorfmana, który prowadzi ekipę Japonii. Tutaj 2 Japończyków, Masahiro Takeda i Masayuki Maiyuara prowadzą na drugim miejscu. Chyba Francuzi, później ekipa Norwegii, Hindusi i Estończycy niespodziewanie na ostatnim miejscu, choć teraz przyspieszyli, teraz wyprzedzili Hindusów. Hindusi spadli na ostatnie miejsce, ale i tak duże brawa za dzielną postawę dla tej dwójki.
Looking good for Japan, France, and Norway to advance. But Pete, little bit of a push from Estonia. Do you think the Norwegians are safe?
I don't think anybody's safe when it comes to small boat racing in the last 300 meters of this straight line course, because anything can change. I love watching small boats in the finishing sprints because a real concerted effort and you can gain lengths on your competitors in just a couple of hundred meters. So we'll see what happens here, but Japan have gone up another gear. They're over 40 strokes a minute now, and they're building that lead ahead of France to nearly 2 lengths. Amazing stuff from them.
Proszę Państwa, niesamowity wynik ze strony japońskiej osady. Oni w tej chwili jeszcze powiększają swoją przewagę. Już w tej chwili 20 metrów przewagi. Na drugim miejscu Francja, na trzecim miejscu Norwegia. Te 3 osady na razie na miejscach dających awans, ale i wyścig się jeszcze nie zakończył. Proszę Państwa, spójrzcie na tor numer 2, gdzie płynie Estonia, która w tej chwili podkręciła tempo. Czyżby była już na miejscu trzecim? Austria bez miejsca w półfinale?
Here come Estonia. They're moving up through Norway. An amazing sprint finish from them. Last couple of strokes now. Japan are going to take the win. 3/4 of a length up on France. France have a canvas on Estonia. That's the 1, 2, 3 going through to the AB semi-finals. Half a length behind Estonia, we find Norway, who have perhaps 4 lengths up on India for 4th and 5th. And we'll see them both progress to the C final. Well, that was the first reperchage. Now on to the second reperchage for the lightweight men's double sculls. Australia in lane 1, Denmark in 2, Austria in 3, India 1 in lane 4 and Japan 2 in lane 5.
Proszę Państwa, i drugi bieg repasażowy w tej samej konkurencji już w torze. Na torze pierwszym Australia, na torze drugim Dania, tor trzecim Austria, tor czwarty Indie i tor piąty Japonia.
Well, it's close stuff this. 4 boats all separated by perhaps a canvas to half a length going through 800.
Yes, and I think the Indians front-loaded this race, as befits the leading crew from that particular nation, looking set to maybe to gain a place in the AB semi-final, but didn't reckon on Raimund Scherbel of Austria moving through, and indeed it is the Austrians who have taken the lead, approaching the halfway mark, and the India crew is now vying for contention with Japan too, the new combination from that particular nation, Nishimura and Furuta. But the field is so close, moving through the halfway signal. It is Austria just in the lead, ahead of second-placed India, just got their bow ball in front of Japan, and then over on the far side, Australia just holding off Denmark.
Bardzo wyrównany bieg na 1000 metrów. Wszystkie osady na zaczepieniu długości łodzi. Prowadzi Australia minimalnie przed Indiami i osadą Japonii. Bardzo wysoko znowu osada Japonii wiosłuje w tempie 38 uderzeń na minutę i w tych warunkach to chyba jest bardzo skuteczna. Ich koledzy we wcześniejszym biegu zdecydowanie wygrali.
The Austrians have put in a push, taking it up to 38 strokes a minute because they know that things are so close behind them. The lead could change in a flash, as indeed could the qualification positions. Austria now up to 39 because they sense there's trouble brewing immediately behind them. And with a field that close, we all know that in lightweight doubles, it can be so close right down to the line. Austria leading the way home.
Trouble brewing indeed behind this Austria lightweight men's double. So the crew from India, can they hold the pace? They're just now for the first time starting to fall a little bit further behind. Japan certainly still in contention. Australia as well. India will have to kick it up if they want to run with these three other crews through to the line. And then just behind them, well, that's Denmark. Denmark may be the only crew out of contention at the moment.
Niezwykle zacięta walka o te 3 miejsca premiowane awansem do półfinału. Na razie Austria, Australia, Japonia, Indie oraz ekipa Danii. Japończycy znowu dobrze płyną, ale to wszystko, jak mówiłem poprzednio, ręka znakomitego trenera Xaviera Dorfmana, złotego medalisty z Igrzysk Olimpijskich w Sydney, ale w czwórce bez sternika wagi lekkiej. On mieszka we Francji wraz z innymi kolegami z innych dyscyplin sportu i właśnie Francuzi uczą wiosłować Japończyków i to widzimy z jakimi efektami.
Austria still holding the lead. We have 3 crews in contention for just 2 more spots. Pete, can you sort it out for us?
I'm not sure I can at this stage, Colleen. They've got 300 meters to go. Arvind Laljat and Arvind Singh really pushing now. They're drawing on terms with Australia and Japan too. A great performance from India here, really trying to get into contention for places in the AB semi-final and thereby being in the top 12 ranking from this World Cup. So an impressive performance from them. They're moving up through Japan, not quite pushing past Australia yet as we come into the last 200.
Proszę Państwa, duże emocje i niesamowity finisz w wykonaniu osady z Austrii. W tej chwili oni na prowadzeniu i tutaj 4 osady tak naprawdę kulka w kulkę walczą o awans do półfinału. Na drugim miejscu w tej chwili wydaje się, że osada z Australii, ale tak naprawdę reprezentacja Indii też bardzo wysoko. Japonia chyba spadła na 4. miejsce. Co to będzie za niesamowity finisz? Ostatnie metry decydujące.
I don't believe it. There's nothing to separate these 4 boats trailing behind Austria. It's going to come down to the wire. Austria take the win. Second goes to India. Third, I just could not pick. It might well have been Japan on the near side. We're just going to have to wait for the official results to trickle through to confirm that. But I can tell you that that was Austria for the win in 6:23.4. Results still coming through. I believe it was India by my eyesight across the line who took second. So we'll just wait for those results to still trickle through. An impressive performance nonetheless from Austria. Clearly the results still being scrutinised. India confirmed as second place, and then the crucial 3rd spot into the AB semi-final was indeed Japan too. So those 3 go through to the AB semi-final. We'll see Denmark and Australia in the C final. Well, after that really exciting reperchage for the lightweight men's double, we're moving on now to the first rep for the men's pair. We've got Ukraine, Switzerland, France 2, USA 2 and Japan 2.
Proszę Państwa, dwójki mężczyzn. Pierwszy repasaż przed nami. Tor pierwszy Ukraina, tor drugi Szwajcaria, tor trzeci Francja, tor czwarty to Stany Zjednoczone, a na torze piątym Japonia.
Coming out to 900 meters in, Switzerland leading, not by much. Same progression system as the previous races. First 3 go through to the AB semi, the rest to the C final. Switzerland under pressure, though, by France as they come up towards halfway.
Yes, Pete, the form book running true because Marin Langer and Jan-Jona Plock for Switzerland had the fastest qualification time of any of these 5 pairs, and they are leading the way by just under 1 boat length clear of Armand Pfister and Florian Ludwig, the under-23 combination from France, who in turn have half a length on the Americans, Michael Cloud and Andrew Leroux.
Na 1000 metrów prowadzą Szwajcarzy już przed Francuzami i Stanami Zjednoczonymi. Za nimi osady z Ukrainy i ostatnia 5. na 1000 metrów jest Japonia. Bardzo zacięta walka między Szwajcarią, Francją a Stanami Zjednoczonymi. Jest niewielka różnica i tutaj osady też bardzo wysoko wiosłują w tempie 38-37 uderzeń na minutę.
So the pressure very much on fourth placed Ukraine, just ahead of fifth place Japan. Now, can Ukraine come back on the leaders, because they've got a long, long way to make up. Those three leaders, Switzerland, France and the USA, had clear water on ahead of the rest of the field as they moved through the halfway mark. But Langer and Plock out there in the lead. They've got the greater boat speed of any of these five pairs and are moving away, really setting the pace at 40 strokes a minute, Colleen.
Yeah, they kick it up to 39, 40 strokes per minute, Langer and Plock. We saw them in Belgrade at the first World Cup. They took 10th overall in the men's pair, so they've been building their season, continuing to gain speed. And of course, while I'm sure they wouldn't like to be in the repechages, they're certainly looking to win it with style. They'll be first across through the 500, 3 to advance. Currently, that would be Switzerland, the USA and France.
Jak Szwajcarzy kogoś przywożą na zawody, to musi być mocna osada i to jest potwierdzenie tego. Maureen Lange i Jan Plock wyraźnie prowadzą w tym wyścigu. Na drugim miejscu chyba Amerykanie w tej chwili przed Francuzami, ale walka tam jest bardzo zacięta. Oto drugie miejsce. Japończycy podopieczni Xaviera Dorfmana przesunęli się z 5. na 4. miejsce, rzucając na to ostatnie Ukraińców, ale walczą do końca. Zobaczymy, bo ten wyścig naprawdę ciekawy. To te 2 miejsca, o 3 miejsca premiowane awansem już walka jest zakończona, bo te 3 miejsca już są rozdzielone.
The USA pushed their bow ahead of France, now running second at the 500 to go. Continues to be Switzerland, but the USA starting to make a bit of a push.
Last 250 then, and Switzerland do look great out in front. I mean, they've led the whole way down the course here. The USA moving up from third into second in that third 500. But I think there's still a pretty clear-cut line between France, who are in the hot seat for third, and any fourth or fifth place between Japan and Ukraine at the moment. No real discernible lift in the rhythm here as they start to wind it up for the finish. So I think all these boats now resigned to the positions that they're in.
Wydaje się w tym biegu, że miejsca dające awans do półfinału są już przyznane wyraźnie. Na prowadzeniu Szwajcaria, na miejscu drugim Stany Zjednoczone i na miejscu trzecim w tej chwili Francja. Te osady już z pewnym awansem. Właśnie widzimy, jak ekipa szwajcarska dopływa do linii mety.
Last couple of strokes, then Switzerland are going to take the win in this first reperchage for the men's pair. They'll go through and lead the way into the AB semi-final, where they'll be joined by the United States of America 2 and France 2. That's the 1, 2, 3. Coming in for fourth place then, and running into the C final, we have Japan 2 ahead of Ukraine. Reperchage 1 down for the men's pair. We're on to Reperchage 2 next, where we've got China 1 in lane 1, Germany 2 in lane 2, Uruguay in 3, France 1 in lane 4 and Hungary in lane 5.
Proszę Państwa, drugi repasaż w tej samej konkurencji. Na torze pierwszym Chiny, tor drugi to Niemcy, tor trzeci Urugwaj, tor czwarty Francja i na torze piątym Węgry. Pierwsze 500 metrów za zawodnikami i na miejscu pierwszym Francja.
Going through 800 already, France 1 out in front, but then it's tough to pick the smaller positions. I think it's Hungary ahead of Uruguay, Robert.
It is, and Uruguay now trying to play catch-up. They've increased their rate to 40 strokes a minute, as have Hungary. They are desperately trying to play catch-up, but the form book running true as far as the leaders are concerned, because Tourlan and Chamaron had the fastest qualification time of any of these 5 crews earlier in the racing. This new combination from France, but they've got less than a 1 boat length advantage ahead of the Hungarians. Juhász and Simon, who I've seen racing so many times over the years. They've been a consistent pair for Hungary. I can remember them way back at the World Championships in Korea, in Cheongju in 2013. And here they are, still in their early 30s and still pumping away and looking set for a place in the semi-final.
Spokojna jazda prowadzących w tej chwili. Francuzów jadą bardzo nisko w stosunku do innych. To jest 35-36 uderzeń. Bardzo naciskają ich w tej chwili Niemcy i Węgrzy. Oni jadą prawie po 40 uderzeń na minutę. Na dalszych pozycjach są osady niemiecka i osada Chin.
So with 3 to go through, well, France and Hungary are looking set for two of the leading contenders now. Can Uruguay join them in the semi-final? Uruguay, Rodas and Zocalo, they were one of the crews in this race to compete in Belgrade. Finished one place up on the Hungarians on that occasion, so the positions were being reversed here in the reperchage in Poznan. But Uruguay managing to stay just ahead of chasing Germany and China, Colleen.
That's right. Uruguay able to stay just ahead, but they are having to work really hard for it. They're up at 40 strokes per minute, and Germany about 10 meters or so behind them, moving at a fairly similar speed. Maybe Uruguay a little bit quicker. Germany at 36 strokes per minute. So the question becomes, if Germany decides to kick it up, and I'm sure they will Uruguay be able to hold them off for that final third spot position?
O te trzy czołowe miejsca, awans do półfinału. Będzie tu zacięta walka. Na razie Węgrzy prowadzą, na drugim miejscu Francuzi, później długość łodzi tracą Urugwajczycy, no i Niemcy dopiero na czwartym miejscu. Niemcy, którzy mają dwójkę bardzo dobrych zawodników, między innymi Henry Hopman, szlakowy reprezentant Hanzy Dortmund, będzie w przyszłości psychologiem. Na razie jednak tutaj walczy na torach regatowych na mistrzostwach młodzieżowych świata. Był w 8 i tam zajął trzecie miejsce. Tutaj tej dwójce na razie mu nie idzie. Niemcy na czwartym miejscu, a prowadzą Węgrzy.
Approaching the closing 250 meters, it's now Hungary with the lead. Hungary over France, moving into that first place position. They were second at the 500 and the 1000, now running first. Then it's France, and it's looking, Pete, like Uruguay will hold.
Yeah, looking pretty good for Uruguay, but what pressure Hungary are putting in here. They're up to 41 strokes a minute, France at 36, but Hungary's boat speeds come with that increased rating. They're pulling away from France every stroke as we get into this red boys. I wonder if Germany's got anything in their back pocket. They've got over a length to make up to try and contest third place with Uruguay.
Niesamowity finisz w wykonaniu osady z Węgier, proszę Państwa. Na tych ostatnich 500 metrach wysunęli się na pierwsze miejsce i w tej chwili oni mkną po zwycięstwo w tym biegu. Francja, która rozpoczęła bardzo mocno, przez pierwsze 1000 metrów prowadzili, w tej chwili musi się pogodzić z drugim miejscem. Na miejscu trzecim w tej chwili Urugwaj i prawdopodobnie w tej kolejności zawodnicy dopłyną do mety. Na miejscu czwartym Niemcy, na miejscu piątym Chiny i te dwie osady poza miejscami dającymi awans do półfinału.
Here we go then. We've got Hungary going to take the win. They're holding a length ahead of France as they cross the line, winning this second reperchage for the men's pair, leading the way into the AB semi-final. France will go with them, and then Uruguay hold on to that third place, half a length ahead of Germany for fourth, and then China for fifth. We'll see Germany and China in this C final. So that was the men's pair. We're moving on to the reperchage now for the women's double sculls. We've got Poland, Thailand, Japan 2, Canada, Hungary and Japan 1.
Proszę Państwa, repasaż dwójek podwójnych kobiet. Na torze pierwszym Polki Paulina Chrzanowska, Kasia Boruch. Trzymamy kciuki za dobry występ polskiej osady. W tym wyścigu liczą się pierwsze 3 miejsca, także liczymy na jedno z tych miejsc Polek. Na torze drugim Tajlandia, na torze trzecim Japonia, tor czwarty to Kanada, tor piąty Węgry i na torze szóstym Japonia.
Like the other repechages, 3 to go through to the AB semi-final, and it's a great first 800 meters for Japan 1. Oishi and Yonakawa leading the way.
Yes, indeed. Japan's leading women's boat, Oishi and Yonakawa, really looking very strong indeed at this relatively early stage, just holding off Canada in second place. Oishi in the bow seat, well, she came out of last year's women's double scull at the Olympics, finished in 10th position overall. Yonakawa Shiho in the stroke seat, Japan's leading women's single sculler, spent several months at Leander Club in Henley in Great Britain during the closed months through the winter training period, and no doubt that will have brought her additional experience to bring to this Japanese boat, which is leading the field at the halfway mark. Well, I say leading the field, but it's certainly not by much, because Canada hard on their heels, just about a third of a boat length back in second place, followed by the Hungarians, Prahl and Kramer in third. Those are the three qualification slots at the halfway mark.
Na 1000 metrów prowadzą Kanadyjki, potem są Węgierki i Japonki. To są trzy osady, które były czwarte w swoich przedbiegach i tutaj w tej chwili prowadzą. Na 5. miejscu w tej chwili osada polska, Kasia Boruch i Paulina Chrzanowska. I ostatnie w tym biegu zawodniczki z Japonii.
And it's the Japanese combination who are still holding off, but Canada closing. Canada, Shannon Kennedy and Marilu Duvernay really pushing on hard, vying for position with the leading Japanese double. Japan at 35, Canada really winding it up to 36 now, and they are within a whisker of it. The Hungarians also challenging for the leading slot, and the pressure from those three leading doubles has brought them well clear of the trailing pack. Surely, Colleen, we've seen the three qualifiers already sorted, but who do you think is going to cross the line first?
Oh, it's going to be such an incredible final 500 meters. They're just coming toward that mark for the 1500-meter mark down. Japan, Canada, well, the battle between them, just so incredible. It's really bow ball by bow ball. At the moment, it's Japan with the advantage, Canada running second, Hungary in third.
Coraz lepiej płyną nasze zawodniczki płynące na torze pierwszym. Paulina Chrzanowska, Kasia Boruch. Polki chyba w tej chwili na 4. miejscu prowadzą Kanadyjki. Za nimi rozpędzone zawodniczki Japonii. Później są Węgierki. Polki na 4. miejscu, ale tracą do tej czołowej trójki. Będzie bardzo trudno jeszcze z tego fatalnego pierwszego toru. Polki gonią, ale straty są duże. Ciężko będzie dogonić rozpędzone, szczególnie Kanadyjki, które w tych trudnych warunkach radzą sobie znakomicie.
Japan with a slight advantage over Canada, then back to Hungary. Japan and Canada at nearly identical stroke rates and speed on the course. Canada kicks it up to 36 strokes per minute. Hungary running third. Pete, looking like an incredible finish here. Japan, Canada, your pick.
Yeah, it's all tightening up into this last 300 or so meters. Japan and Canada, bow ball for bow ball, level for boat speed. Hungary starting to move up now. They go up a pip or two, and it's going to be quite tight between these three. They're leaving behind the rest of the field, so that's closing the door on any chance for Poland or Japan too to get into the action of an AB semi-final place.
Proszę Państwa, duże emocje i walka o pierwsze 3 miejsca, które dają awans do półfinału. Kanada, za nimi Japonia i Węgry. Natomiast nasze oczy patrzą na tor numer 1, gdzie płyną Polki Kasia Boruch oraz Paulina Chrzanowska. Polki w tej chwili na 4. miejscu, jednak ta strata do pierwszej trójki jest już dosyć spora. Ostatnie 200 metrów. Czy starczy jeszcze sił? Czy podejmą walkę, aby zawalczyć o awans do półfinału? Może być jeszcze ciężko.
There's absolutely nothing separating Canada and Japan one here. We're into the last 100 meters and they are stroke for stroke. Hungary just sitting back a canvas down on that leadership tussle. We're going to get into the last 5 or 6 strokes now, and it's going to be down to the last few strokes that separates these two bow balls, Japan and Canada. I think Japan are just an inch or two down on Canada. I can't separate it. That's rare. We'll have to see what the officials make of that and what the timers do to separate it. Hungary take 3rd place, 4th place then Poland, 5th Japan 2, and then coming in for 6th we've got Thailand. Results now coming through. It's a win for Japan 1 in 7 minutes, 0.26, just 1800ths of a second ahead of Canada for 2nd and Hungary 3rd. They'll go through to the AB semi, the rest to the C final. We're running straight on into the one and only reperchage now for the men's double sculls. Moldova, Bulgaria, Estonia, Germany 2, China and Hungary 1.
Proszę Państwa, tym razem repasaż dwójek podwójnych mężczyzn. Tor 1 Estonia, tor 2 Mołdawia, tor 3 Niemcy, tor 4 Bułgaria, tor 5 Chiny i tor 6 Węgry.
They're already approaching halfway, so let's jump straight to the action with Robert.
Liu Baixun and Liu Dang for China leading the way. Liu Baixun in the bow seat, making his international debut alongside his partner out of the Tokyo quad, and they are leading the field by half a length up on the Moldovans. The under-23 double from Moldova, Bulat and Korsinov, who recorded the fastest time of these 6 doubles in this morning's racing, hanging on grimly behind the Chinese for second position. But who is going to take third? Because we've got Germany vying for position right alongside Bulgaria.
Bardzo wyrównany bieg w połowie dystansu. Wszystkie osady bardzo blisko siebie. Na prowadzeniu osada Chin. Za nimi Bułgaria i następnie Mołdawia. Niewielkie różnice. Poniżej 20 metrów między osadami i tak prowadzi w tej chwili cały czas osada z Chin wiosłująca na torze 5.
The Moldovans running out of steam against the pressure from Bulgaria. These 2 doubles level for second place behind the leading Chinese combination. Germany also vying for position. So much talent on board the German and Bulgarian boats. We've got Hannes Odchik in the stroke seat out of the Olympic silver medal 8 in the Bulgarian boat. We've got the current under-23 world single sculling champion, and they really are piling on the pressure now behind Moldova as the entire fleet moves down to 1,500.
It's an incredible sight at the 500 to go to see these crews, many of them nearly level. But we can see the clear leader continues to be China. They've got at least 3/4 length advantage over the Bulgarians just next to them out of lane 4. The battle between Moldova and Germany is on.
Na prowadzeniu ekipa Chin, Chińczycy wyraźnie z przodu, długość łodzi, później Bułgarzy i Niemcy. W składzie Niemców bardzo znany wicemistrz olimpijski, ale z 8 z Rio de Janeiro, Hannes Odchik oraz młodzieżowiec, także bardzo ambitny Janis Romanowski. I ta dwójka tutaj tworzy tą bardzo silną, nową ekipę Republiki Federalnej Niemiec. Później Bułgarzy z młodziutkim, szalonym Emilem Nejkowem oraz Mołdawianie, Estończycy, daleko z tyłu Węgrzy.
So China looking to advance through. Pete, Bulgaria increases their stroke rate nearly to 40 to punch that ticket. And then it's your pick, Germany or Moldova?
It's so close. Germany, Moldova, and Estonia definitely not out of it either. Those 3 boats level on the far side. Stefan Kruger, usually racing for Germany, now allowed to race for Estonia as he's a member of Kasper Timsu's club. So he's up there against what would usually be some of his countrymates, Hannes Odchik and Yanis Romanovsky, who are contesting for a place through as well. So it's going to come down to the wire between those 3 and that 3rd seat behind China and Bulgaria into the AB semi.
Proszę Państwa, duże emocje na prowadzeniu. Chiny, Bułgaria na 2. miejscu, ale zaciekła walka o 3. miejsce, które daje awans do półfinału. Estonia, Mołdawia i Niemcy. Która z tych osad? Wydaje się, że Estonia, ale do końca wyścigu jeszcze 50 metrów. Tutaj widzimy, zawodnicy finiszują. Kto z osad dołączy do półfinału?
Well, Bulgaria take the win in the end, moving half a length up on China, and Estonia hold on to 3rd place. An impressive performance from them, closing down to a canvas behind China. So those 3 go through to the AB semi. Will therefore see Moldova, Germany, and coming in for 6th place, Hungary 1, progress through to the C final. And we pause just to catch our breath very briefly before moving on to the next race, which is the reperchage for the women's 4. We've got a 4-boat lineup here. Czech Republic in lane 1, Canada 2 in lane 2, Germany in 3 and France in lane 4.
Proszę Państwa, 4 kobiet w kolejnym biegu repasażowym na torze 1, Czechy na torze 2, Kanada, tor 3 to Niemcy i na torze 4 Francja. 750 metrów tego wyścigu już za nami, francuski przed Kanadyjkami i na miejscu 3 w tej chwili Niemki.
Well, France out in front, passing through 800 down, but it's close for 2nd and 3rd.
It is indeed, Pete, very close indeed. The leading trio, though, pulling well clear of the Czech Republic. That's where the real pressure point is. All 4 of these lineups in this one and only Rep 4 women's 4s. New combination for the 2022 season. And all built around under-23 success from last year. Indeed, by my reckoning, some 5 or 6 of these athletes last met in the under-23 women's pairs final last year, where it was Germany who took top honours. But taking top honours as they move through the halfway mark, it is France pumping it away with a narrow clear water advantage ahead of Canada in second place, who in turn have half a length of Germany, and then we've got almost one clear boat length of clear water before we get back to the fourth place Czech Republic.
Na 1000 metrów prowadzą Francuski, które mają długość łodzi przewagi nad drugimi Kanadyjkami. Zaraz za nimi Niemki i stawkę tego biegu zamykają Czeszki. W osadzie Niemiec połowa tej osady, Lena Saras i Hanna Refej, one startowały w 2001 roku w Racicach w młodzieżowych mistrzostwach świata, zajmując 3. miejsce.
France rowing along with absolute economy of stroke. They're maintaining the fastest boat speed with the lowest stroke rate, and despite a push by the Czechs over on the far side, taking it up to 37, that is not being matched with extra boat speed. So I think it's going to be all over very soon, because the gap between the leading trio and the trailing Czechs is widening stroke by stroke as the 4 crews come down within sight of Kalin.
They're charging down toward us indeed, and looking really good as they move through the third quarter. Early leader, of course, Canada, Germany, France, the Czech Republic maybe just out of it. We know this boat class continues to grow with nearly 14 boats entered, so stiff competition across the women's 4, and fantastic to see it continue to grow.
500 metrów do mety mają Francuski, one prowadzą, mają 1,5 długości łodzi przewagi nad ekipą Kanady. Później przyspieszające Niemki już bliziutko Kanadyjek, ale te straty nie są dużo daleko z tyłu. Czeszki teraz dopiero mijają celownik 1500 metrów, a tam z przodu walka. Rozpędzone Francuski, coraz szybsze Niemki włączyły swój 5. bieg i będzie bardzo ciekawa końcówka.
So France with the lead, then Germany and Canada having a bit of a battle in the back. That's the 1, 2, 3. It's looking like the Czech Republic, barring any big effort from them in this last stretch, will be the ones left out. So Pete, they're moving towards you. It's been a good race for France.
A great race for France. Maya Konu, Julie Voirin, Adèle Brosset and Emma Connelly leading the way here. They've built out a really safe margin. They're ticking it over at 36 strokes a minute. Canada looking good for second. They're also at 36, as are Germany, half a length down on Canada too. So these 3 boats looking comfortable for the 1, 2, 3. We'll see how things progress and if they put in any discernible sprints to the line in this last 200.
Ostatnie 200 metrów w konkurencji 4 kobiet w biegu repasażowym. Tutaj walka o pierwsze 3 miejsca. Tak jak zaczęły mocno, tak mocno kontynuują. Francuski płynące na torze 4. Kanadyjki trochę przyspieszyły, chyba chcą tutaj też pokazać swoją dobrą formę w tym Pucharze Świata w Poznaniu. Niemki także w miejscu dającym awans do półfinału. Na 4. miejscu Czeszki już chyba bez szans o awans do półfinału. Ostatnie metry zawodniczek Francja, Kanada i Niemcy.
All 3 of these leading boats go up just 1 pip to 37 just to make sure they get the blood circulating in the last couple of 100 meters. But the positions remain as they were. France lead ahead of Canada and then Germany for the 1, 2, 3. They'll go through to the AB semi-final. And despite a great race from the Czech Republic, that'll be the end of their regatta here in the women's 4 following this reperchage. That was the one and only repechage for the women's 4. We've now got 2 repechages for the men's 4. In this first one, we've got China 2 in lane 1, Denmark in lane 2, China 1 in lane 3, Germany in 4 and Poland in lane 5.
Kolejny bieg repasażowy to 4 mężczyzn. Na torze 1 Chiny, tor 2 to Dania, tor 3 Chiny, tor 4 Niemcy i na torze 5 osada z Polski.
Well, we're coming out towards halfway, and Poland were leading through the 500, but now feeling a lot of pressure as China 1 draw level with them. So we'll see how that develops as they pass halfway and Robert and Tomac.
Yeah, Poland looking very strong indeed, coming up to the halfway mark. They still are holding on to that lead. Pete, you'll be pleased to hear, as will Tomasz, from whom we'll hear in just a moment. There's just over a canvas in it between those two leaders, and it's Germany in third. That's where the pressure point is. Two crews going through to the final.
Bardzo dobrze na 1000 metrów sprawuje się polska osada. To utytułowana osada, która rzeczywiście ma potencjał i startowała, zajmowała 7. miejsce na Igrzyskach w Tokio, w Pucharach Świata w zeszłym roku w Zagrzebiu i w Sabaudi zdobywała medale. W Pucharach Świata na 2. miejscu Chiny, na 3. Niemcy, na 4. Dania i ostatnia osada w tym biegu Chiny. Ten bieg jest bardzo wyrównany. Polska jedzie bardzo wysokim tempem, to jest 41 uderzeń na minutę, najwyżej w tej stawce. Trzymajmy kciuki, aby chłopakom pozostało jak najwięcej energii. Pierwsze 2 osady wchodzą do finału A.
Great news for Polish supporters. The crew have taken the rate up to 41. They've widened the margin ahead of China 1 and thus reversing the result from Belgrade 3 weeks ago, where China took top honours with a bronze medal ahead of Poland in 6th position. But Poland turning that around now, hanging on grimly and drawing away from the chasing Germans, Colleen.
Yeah, Poland having a great race up at 40 strokes per minute. As you said, they're now charging through the last quarter of the race, looking so good and aggressive. China then running second. Those are the 2 qualifying positions. Germany at the moment out of contention. Waldek, look at the Polish crew.
Nieprawdopodobna walka naszych zawodników. Na pewno mocno trzyma kciuki za naszą czwórkę. Michał Szpakowski, który wraca do zdrowia, bo on przecież walczył w tej czwórce bez sternika. Michał teraz na pewno dopinguje Polaków. Oni są na czele. Dziubek Łodzi przed Chińczykami, później Niemcy, znowu Chińczycy, znowu walka na ostatnim miejscu Chińczycy, przepraszam, to jest druga osada chińska, wcześniej jeszcze Duńczycy, Polacy na prowadzeniu, Dziubek Łodzi przewagi nad osadą Chin.
Pete, Poland at 42. It's China running with them. It's not looking good for Germany.
It's a punishing pace by Poland out in front. They've gone to 42. China at 39. Germany going up to 42 as well. These 3 boats giving it absolutely everything to try and take one of the 2 places into the A final. So it's going to be really tight. I think Germany might just lose out because the pace from Poland and China is just formidable.
I tutaj duże polskie emocje na 150 metrów przed linią mety. Proszę Państwa, Polacy cały czas na pierwszym miejscu, w niesamowicie wysokie tempo, 42 pociągnięcia na minutę, ale proszę Państwa, wydaje się, że w tej chwili to jednak Chiny weszły na pierwsze miejsce. Ostatnie pociągnięcia, Chiny czy Polska? Chiny czy Polska?
China re-sees the lead from Poland coming to the last 2 strokes. They're going to win this first reperchage for the men's 4. They do so just over half a length ahead of Poland. Those 2 both go through to the A final. 3rd place Germany, who are a canvas ahead of Denmark over on the far side, lead the way into the B final, where they'll be joined by China 2. Well, whilst we're enjoying the tunes of these sea shanties mixed in with some German trance music, we now have the second reperchage for the men's 4 already underway. We've got Norway, Japan, USA, Netherlands 2 and France.
I proszę Państwa, drugi bieg repasażowy w tej samej konkurencji. Tor pierwszy to Norwegia, tor drugi Japonia, tor trzeci Stany Zjednoczone, na torze czwartym Holandia i tor piąty to Francja.
Well, they're already 600 meters in. Netherlands 2 leading, not by much though, because they've got the USA hot on their heels as they come up towards being in sight of Robert.
They have indeed got the USA hot on their heels, but looking at the form book, perhaps no surprise that the Dutch should be out in front. The only one of these 5 crews to take part in Belgrade 3 weeks ago, where these 4 athletes not only took a silver medal in the men's 4, they doubled up and took another silver in the 8s with another 4 members of their squad, obviously. Whereas with the other 4 crews in this particular reperchage, not a great deal of international experience just yet. The Americans were fastest of these 5 in terms of their qualification times earlier in the program, but that result being reversed as they approach the halfway mark. The Netherlands lead the USA.
Do 1000 metrów zbliżają się drugi bieg repasażowy czwórek bezsternika mężczyzn, w którym prowadzą Holendrzy. Tuż za nimi z niewielką stratą płyną Amerykanie. Na trzecim miejscu są Francuzi, na czwartym w tej chwili przychodzą Norwegowie i stawkę zamykają Japończycy. W osadzie Holendrów jest lekko zmieniona z poprzedniego Pucharu Świata, w którym są zawodnicy zajmujący drugie i czwarte miejsce w tej konkurencji oraz startowali w ósemce, w której zajęli drugą pozycję w Pucharze Świata w Belgradzie.
The leading positions unchanged. It's still the Netherlands and the Americans out there in front in those vital two qualification positions. France playing catch up. They could still do it as they went through the halfway mark. Suddenly the rates began to go through the roof. I've got Japan up at 40 strokes a minute, but the Dutch have seen the challenge developing behind them. They've gone up to 40 strokes as well, and they have got almost the best boat speed because the Americans have drawn level, or have indeed they overhauled them, Colleen.
The Americans have put their bow just ahead then of this crew from the Netherlands. A good four for the Americans, a couple of University of Washington alumni rather in the bow seat, Andrew Gard and his teammate Chris Carlson. So both University of Washington graduates and then University of Wisconsin, Harvard University. So some great universities coming together to make up this USA 4 that leads the Netherlands.
A zatem Amerykanie na półmetku na prowadzeniu przed Holendrami i Francuzami. Później są Norwegowie i Japończycy. Jest to najbardziej brytyjska z wszystkich konkurencji. Brytyjczycy najczęściej zdobywali mistrzostwo olimpijskie. Ostatni raz w 2016 w Rio. Teraz mistrzami olimpijskimi są Australijczycy, ale tutaj w tym wyścigu najbardziej liczy się osada Stanów Zjednoczonych.
The USA then closing in toward the final 250 meters, stroked by Pieter Quinten in the four seat, setting down a rhythm at 38 strokes per minute. The Netherlands kick it up to 41, Pete, for those two qualifying spots.
Yeah, Mick Macker in the stroke seat of the Dutch boat, taking them to 41, giving it absolutely everything to try and take the win in this second reperchage. Pressure's on, though, for France. I think they might just be out of the running here. They're giving it everything. They're up over 41 as well, stroked by Theo Raye, trying to get into contention for a place in the A final, but I think they're just going to run out of water.
Proszę Państwa, duże emocje o zwycięstwo w tym biegu. Stany Zjednoczone, Holandia i wydaje się, że to będą jednak Stany Zjednoczone. W tej chwili ta ekipa, największa prędkość łodzi i mknie po zwycięstwo w tym biegu. Na drugim miejscu Holandia i te dwie osady na pewno zobaczymy w finale A.
The USA at 40 strokes a minute, the Dutch go to 43, but there's half a length in it as we see them cross the line. The USA taking the win, half a length up on the Netherlands. They both progress to the A final, and then a length down on the Netherlands, we find France for third place. They've got perhaps 3 lengths of clear water up on Norway, who are coming in across the line now for fourth, and then fifth place will be Japan. We'll see them go through to the B final. On then now to the women's single reperchage. We've got 6 boats lined up here in lane 1. Kirsten Goodger for the New Zealand. Lane 2 for the USA, Margaret Fellows. Siri Ava Christensen for Norway in lane 3. Desislava Angelova for Bulgaria in 4. Audrey Futry for France in 5. And Marina Kostyuk for Ukraine in lane 6.
Proszę Państwa, repasaż w konkurencji jedynek kobiet i tu 6 zawodniczek walczy o pierwsze 3 miejsca, które dają awans do jutrzejszego półfinału. Na torze pierwszym Nowa Zelandia, tor drugi Stany Zjednoczone, tor trzeci Norwegia, na torze czwartym Bułgaria, na torze piątym Francja i tor szósty to Ukraina.
Not much separating the leading 3 scullers, Angelova, Futry and Fellows, and then there's perhaps a length down to 4th place in that hot seat, which is held by Kostyuk for Ukraine. So they're coming up towards 700 meters in. Let's hear how they progress through this middle 500.
Well, Pete, you said there wasn't much in it on the race. There wasn't much in it in the qualification times to move through to this one and only rep in the women's single sculls, because Angelova for Bulgaria, who is the leading this six-boat race, was the fastest of these six in the qualification times, only 0.3 of a second faster than the American Margaret Fellows, who's making her international debut here in Poznan, and that is still the 1 and 2 as the six scullers approach the halfway mark. The best of the rest, well, that is still the French sculler, Audrey Futry, coming out of the under-23 competition from last year, so her first year at senior level, and sitting, I would say comfortably, but perhaps that's the wrong word to use at this halfway mark, but still in there with a strong shout for a qualification slot.
Do 1000 metrów zbliżają się panie w konkurencji jedynek kobiet repasaż, dający pierwszym trzem zawodniczkom wejście do finału A. I w tej chwili na prowadzeniu Bułgaria, na drugim miejscu Stany Zjednoczone, na trzecim Francja, na czwartym Norwegia, na piątym minimalnie Nowa Zelandia tuż przed Ukrainą. Zdecydowanie prowadzi i wydaje się, że na 1000 metrów kontroluje ten bieg Bułgarka. Przypomnę, ona startowała w Pucharze Świata, zajmując w tej konkurencji 11 miejsce, ale francuska to też jest zawodniczka, która tutaj powalczy. To jest piąta zawodniczka z młodzieżowych mistrzostw świata z Racic z 2021 roku.
Well, the position's unchanged while Tomasz has been bringing you the news in the local language, because it is still the Bulgarian sculler leading the way home. I'm going to come back on that phrase I said earlier where I suggested that Futry was sitting comfortably in third position. I do believe that to be the case, because she has got a clear water advantage over the rest of the field. She is in one of the favoured centre lanes, and she can simply glance back and match any challenge that the tail enders might put in. So it's Bulgaria leading the way ahead of the USA and France.
Bulgaria, Desislava Angelova at a cool 33 strokes per minute. Not quite the lowest across the field, but definitely into a solid rhythm as she approaches the final 500-meter mark. She's been in control of this race from the start at the 500, at the 1,000, and it's looking good for her as she approaches the 500 to go. It's Bulgaria then holding on to that lead with a close USA behind them. From the USA, that's Margaret Fellows making her international debut, and then back to France.
Na prowadzeniu Denisława Angełowa, Bułgarka, która chyba będzie kontynuować tradycję Rumiany Nejkowej, świetnej kiedyś medalistki, dwukrotnej medalistki złotej Igrzysk Olimpijskich, i teraz właśnie ona i Amerykanka na drugim miejscu, Amerykanka Margaret Fellows, ona jest absolwentką Uniwersytetu St. Lawrence, a obecnie reprezentuje Boston Rowing Federation, a zatem to kolejna silna Amerykanka. I te dwie zawodniczki wyraźnie z przodu, Angełowa oraz Fellows, troszeczkę z tyłu francuska Futry. Te trzy liczą się w walce o awans.
Angelova holding on to the advantage for Bulgaria. The American starting to make a little bit of a push, but not quite able to put her bow ahead. Pete, it's 3 to advance, and it's looking like we have our three clear leaders.
I think we do too, Colleen. I'm going to enjoy watching Fellows and Angelova tussle it out through this last 300 metres, though, because they're neck and neck for speed and rate of striking. They're both level at 36, and they're both going 4.4, 4.5 metres per second. So we'll see how that pans out through these closing stages and whether they try to stick it to each other in this and set the mark for when it comes to that AB semi-final.
Proszę Państwa, bardzo wyrównany finisz w konkurencji jedynek kobiet w biegu repasażowym. Bułgarka i reprezentantka Stanów Zjednoczonych kulka w kulkę walczą o zwycięstwo w tym biegu. Która zatrzymała więcej sił na ostatnie metry, dowiemy się już za chwilę. Także w stawce pozostaje reprezentantka Francji płynąca na torze 5, która też w tej chwili płynie po wyścig, który daje jej awans do półfinału. Tak więc Bułgarka czy reprezentantka Stanów Zjednoczonych? Chyba jednak Bułgarka.
Well, Fellows goes up to 39, I think, trying to move through, but Desislava Angelova is having none of it. She just ups the power through the water and holds on to a canvas across the line then ahead of the American. So that's the 1-2. We then see for France, Audrey Fautry easing right off the pace down to below 30 strokes a minute, comfortable with the knowledge that she'll finish third and progress to the AB semi. She crossed the line for third, a length of clear water up on Siri Eva Christensen for Norway. And then we've got Kirsten Gudger for New Zealand. And then coming in for sixth place, Marina Kostyuk for Ukraine. We'll see them race the C-final. We're going to jump quickly into the reperchage for the women's quads. We've got lined up here Poland, Germany, Australia, Czech Republic and New Zealand already passing you, Robert, at the 1,000.
Air Australia, with 2 bronze medalists from the Tokyo quad on board, are leading this so tight field. Behind them, Germany, who built this crew around their under-23 medalist last year, hanging on grimly to second place. The Czech Republic within a metre of them. So close, Tomasz.
Bardzo wyrównany bieg czwórek podwójnych kobiet. Tutaj startują w różnych osadach medalistki Igrzysk Olimpijskich. W tej chwili na prowadzeniu Australijki, potem są Niemki, Czeszki, Polki i Nowozelandki. Przypomnę, tylko pierwsze 2 osady wchodzą do finału, i trudne zadanie czeka naszą osadę. A to bardzo utytułowana osada. Przypomnę tylko, że to są srebrne medalistki Marta Wieliczko i Katarzyna Zilman z czwórki podwójnej i zawodniczki Olga Michałkiewicz i Joanna Dittmann, które były 6. na igrzyskach w czwórce bez sternika, mają ciężką przeprawę.
Australia maintaining the advantage, but that's still that tense tussle between Germany and the Czech Republic for second place. They are still within a whisker of each other. Well, Poland over on the far side, they still could be in with a shout, but they really got to get a move on through this third vital quarter. I suspect the New Zealanders have lost out on this particular battle. Still, it's Australia leading the way.
They move into the last quarter of the race, and then incredibly tight for that second place position, and that tussle that we've been watching all the way down continues to be the Czech Republic, Germany just behind them, both of them young crews, but really demonstrating their speed. It's Australia holding on to first, and at the moment, well, it's your pick, Pete, for second.
W tej chwili nasze zawodniczki w miejscu prowadzą cały czas Australijki, później Czeszki, Niemki koło siebie, Polki czwarte będą gonić, będzie zacięty finisz o te 2 czołowe miejsce. Australia i kto na drugim miejscu?
Australia looking so good out in front. Let's see how they settle in this last 250. But yeah, as you say, Colleen, not much to separate second, third and fourth. I think the only one slightly off the pace, New Zealand on the near side. But it could be down to any of those 3 crews trailing behind Australia, Czech Republic, Germany and Poland for that second slot in the A-final.
Australia, Czechy, ale Polki na 4. miejscu. Proszę Państwa, różnica, ta strata, ona w tej chwili nie jest aż tak duża. Polki jeszcze mają szansę. W tej chwili podkręcają tempo do 40 pociągnięć na minutę i walczą o awans do półfinału A. Do końca wyścigu jeszcze 100 metrów na prowadzeniu, nic się nie zmienia. Wciąż Australia, drugie miejsce, Czechy, Niemcy. Czy Polkom starczy sił?
Australia comfortably out in front, but it's looking pretty level between the Czech Republic and Germany for that second place. I think Poland just dropping off the pace. They're a length down now into the last 30 metres. Australia are going to take the win, and then it's down to a matter of a foot or two. It's Germany for second, half a canvas ahead of the Czech Republic for third, then Poland fourth, and New Zealand in fifth. So that means we will see Australia and Germany progress through to the A final, and we'll see the rest in the B final. Well, we're into our last boat class of repechages for today, here at day 2 of the World Rowing Cup in Poznan. We've got the first of 4 repechages for the men's single sculls. Lane 1 for Tunisia, we have Mohamed Tayeb. Lane 2 for Denmark, Bastian Setcher. Lane 3 for Switzerland, Scott Berlocker. And then lane 4 for Latvia, Norbert Dublinskis.
Proszę Państwa, ostatnie 4 repasaże drugiego dnia Pucharu Świata w Poznaniu w konkurencji jedynek mężczyzn. Na torze pierwszym Tunezja, tor drugi Dania, na torze trzecim Szwajcaria i tor czwarty Łotwa.
Well, it's a bit more of a complicated progression system from this. Robert, how does it work?
Well, the first two across the line in each rep will progress to the AB semi-final and the chance to progress to medals. Then the third place sculler on each occasion will progress automatically to the C final. And then the fourth place sculler, well, this is where it gets very complicated because they could make it to the C final or indeed to the D. I think we're going to have to wait and see how things pan out.
W tej chwili prowadzi Duńczyk i on jest faworytem. Przypomnijmy, zajął 7. miejsce w Belgradzie w jedynce mężczyzn, ale także jest trzecim zawodnikiem z młodzieżowych mistrzostw świata z racji z 2021 roku. Zaraz za nim na linię 1000 metrów wpływa Szwajcar na trzeciej pozycji. Tuż za nim jest Tunezyjczyk i ostatni na mecie na 1000 metrów jest Łotysz.
Bastian Zecher leading the way home for Denmark ahead of Scott Berlocker of Switzerland. To repeat, only the two leading positions stand the chance of progressing through to the medal rounds, and those two scullers clear of third place Mohamed Taib, the former lightweight from Tunisia, with the newcomer from Latvia, Norbert Stulbinskas, back in fourth position, Colleen.
Bastian Secher continuing to hold on to that lead that he's built through the first half of the race, first at the 500 to the 1,000 mark, and it's looking really good for him to get there first to the 1,500 as well. We saw him not long ago in the men's single in Belgrade, and we also saw Scott Berlacher of Switzerland there, so those earlier races in their season paying off now. Those two continue to lead the field, so it's Denmark, Switzerland, then back to Tunisia and Latvia.
W tym wyścigu tutaj nie ma niespodzianek. Liczą się Duńczyk i Szwajcar. Bastian Zacher, podopieczny pana trenera Thomasa Poulsena, wyraźnie z przodu ładnie dyktuje warunki jazdy na torze. Obok niego jest Szwajcar Scott Berlocher i później jest dobrze znany nam Mohamed Taib z Tunezji. Tunezyjczyk tutaj jest częstym gościem podczas regat w Poznaniu. No i znowu przyjechał i znowu zbliżył się do Szwajcara. Teraz go chyba wyprzedza, będzie na drugim miejscu, a to miejsce awansuje. Dzięki temu miejscu może awansować do półfinału. Na razie jeszcze Szwajcar na drugim miejscu, Tunezyjczyk trzeci i daleko z tyłu Dulbinki z Łotwy.
Bastian Secher of Denmark continuing to hold on to the lead and not sitting comfortably because he's continuing to push out the rest of the field. So making sure that he has that margin and that he continues to open up. 34 strokes a minute, so getting the job done through the water. The Swiss sculler Berlacher continuing to hold on to that second place position. But Pete, Tunisia in touch.
Tunisia is in touch, not far behind. It's a canvas, if that, which is obviously just under half a length, but when it comes to a single scull, but really trying to push up here. Better boat speed now as they come into the red buoy zone than the Swiss athletes. So we'll see these two really tighten up with this finishing sprint. So it's anybody's guess as to which one of those two will follow behind Bastian Secher into that AB semi-final.
I proszę Państwa, tutaj duże emocje na końcu tego wyścigu. Na pierwszym miejscu na razie reprezentant Danii, na miejscu drugim Szwajcar, na miejscu trzecim reprezentant Tunezji. Przypomnę, że w tym wyścigu pierwsze dwie osady awansują bezpośrednio do półfinału. Trzecia osada do finału C, z kolei czwarta do finału C, więc tutaj jest o co walczyć. Na pierwszym miejscu cały czas reprezentant Danii. I teraz kto dołączy do niego do półfinału? Czy będzie to Tunezyjczyk, czy reprezentant Szwajcarii? Ostatnie metry najważniejsze.
This is phenomenal. Taib moves through the Swiss athlete to take second place and almost comfortably. He took the rating up to 39 and the boat speed went with it. It was just enough, I think, to break the spirit of Berlocker in that finishing sprint. So we're going to see the reperchage winner here, Bastian Secher, take the win for Denmark, and then coming in for second, they've eased right off, comfortable now with their positions. Mohamed Taib for Tunisia, they progress through to the AB semi-final. We'll then see Scott Berlocker for Switzerland progress through to the C final, and then we'll have to wait until the repechages are done to determine where Norbert Stulbinskis for Latvia will be progressing either to the C or D final. Well, the reperchage is coming down the course thick and fast. Reperchage number 2 already underway. We were due to have Olli-Pekka Karpinen for Finland in lane 1, but he hasn't started. So in lane 2, we have Canton Antonielli for Monaco, Sam Marsh for Australia in 3, Christian Kerekes for Hungary in 4, and Prem Namprachung for Thailand in lane 5. They're coming up through 900 meters, so let's catch up with Robert.
Yes, Canton Antonielli, very much the athlete with the recent form in men's single sculling, took part in the C final at the Tokyo Olympics, the only one of these 4 to contest the Belgrade round of the World Cup. And in fact, building up his experience at both sweep and sculling by studying at Oxford Brookes University in Great Britain, and has raced for them many times through the winter season. But here he is at the halfway mark, leading by some 2/3 of a length ahead of the former under-23 athlete from Australia, Sam Marsh, who in turn has just over half a length on third-placed Hungary.
I na prowadzeniu jest zawodnik z Monako, który jako pierwszy przepłynął linię 1000 metrów, tuż za nim Australijczyk, Węgier, i zamyka stawkę zawodnik z Tajlandii. Zawodnicy, pierwsza trójka płynie w niewielkich odległościach od siebie, to jest około długości, półtorej długości łodzi. Bardzo mocno wiosłuje właśnie Tajlandczyk, jak na jedynkarza, 37 uderzeń na minutę, to jest bardzo wysoko. Pozostali zawodnicy troszeczkę swobodniej. Zobaczymy, jak będzie się to rozwijało w trakcie dystansu.
The qualification times from last night's heats very much being reflected in this reperchage, where Monaco recorded the fastest time of these 4 scullers, followed by Australia and Hungary. That's the 1, 2, 3, Colleen.
Yeah, the Monaco sculler, Kenton Antonielli, holding on to that 36, 37 strokes per minute, so rowing it quite aggressively. As you noted, had a great race yesterday. It's brought him to the reperchage, but he's definitely making the most of it now. And we saw him in Belgrade as well, so has some racing under his belt from earlier this season, where he raced in the men's single, finishing 17 overall. So 2 to advance to semifinal A, B. It's looking like Monaco and Australia at the moment.
500 metrów do mety ma prowadzący Quentin Antonielli z Monaco. Z tego malutkiego księstwa reprezentant prawdopodobnie awansuje do półfinału. Półtorej długości łodzi przewagi nad samym Marshem, dobrym, doświadczonym już Australijczykiem, który w Poznaniu w 2018 roku zajął 8. miejsce w jedynce, ale to były młodzieżowe mistrzostwa. Ten zawodnik się stale rozwija i no i tutaj potwierdza, że chyba jednak awansuje spokojnie do tego półfinału. Kolejni zawodnicy już z tyłu, Kerekes z Węgier i później reprezentant Tajlandii.
So moving toward the final 250 meters continues to be Antonielli from Monaco. As we saw Australia, that's Sam Marsh, able to move himself from 3rd into 2nd at the 1000, hold on to that 2nd qualifying position. So Pete, looks like it's done and dusted at this point, but as you've said, and rightly say, anything can happen.
Anything can happen in small boats in the last 250, so let's see what happens, though. I think we always had money on that Canton Antonielli would be up there competing for one of the 2 places into the AB semi-final from this reperchage. He's leading the way still, and pretty comfortably so. Sam Marsh hot on his heels, though, down at 30 strokes a minute. These 2, I think, comfortably in a position to manage any surge or charge from Kerekes Christian of Hungary and Prem Namprachung for Thailand. So I think positions looking pretty fixed, averting any disasters.
I proszę Państwa, wydaje się, że tutaj nic już się nie zmieni. Tak samo mocno jak rozpoczął, tak samo finiszuje reprezentant Monaco, który w tej chwili płynie na torze drugim. 30 pociągnięć na minutę i pewne zwycięstwo tego zawodnika. Tuż za nim reprezentant Australii i prawdopodobnie tych 2 zawodników zobaczymy w jutrzejszym półfinale. Do finału C pójdzie reprezentant Węgier i z kolei reprezentant Tajlandii powalczy w finale D. Ostatnie metry zawodników i mamy drugi bieg repasażowy.
Well, with the mercury at its peak, we're at 25 degrees here in Poznan. These athletes just easing off towards the line. No need to overexert themselves in the closing stages of this race when the positions are looking as fixed as they are. Antonielli takes the win ahead of Marsh. Those 2 progress through to the AB semi-final. 3rd place Kerekes, 4th place Namprachung. We'll see Kerekes in the C final, and then shortly we'll find out which final, C or D, Namprachung progresses to. Straight into the penultimate race of the day, then the third of 4 repechages for the men's single sculls. We've got David Barthelot for Australia in lane 1, James Scott for New Zealand in 2, Adam Snyder for Czech Republic in 3 and Bahman Nasiri for Azerbaijan in lane 4.
I przed nami trzeci z 4 biegów repasażowych w konkurencji jedynek mężczyzn. Tor pierwszy Australia, tor drugi Nowa Zelandia, tor trzeci to Czechy i na torze czwartym Azerbejdżan.
Well, Australia leading towards halfway, but we could see a bit of a tussle between Snyder and Nasiri for that second place, Robert.
Yes, we could indeed. Things looking fairly comfortable for David Barthelot, the racing as the second Australian sculler in this men's singles event here in Poznan. He has a clear water lead at the head of the field, but who is going to take second place? That is the trick. For the Czech Republic, Adam Snyder, still only 18 years of age. He came out of last year's bronze medal junior quad racing for the Czech Republic. And alongside, we've got Bahman Nasiri for Azerbaijan, making his international debut here. Now, what I don't know is whether he is looking to replace Alexander Alexandrov as the nominated senior sculler for that particular nation, but no doubt things will become plainer as the World Cup season progresses. Still content relatively to sit there on the heel of the Czech sculler. Snyder goes up to 36 against Azerbaijan at 32.
Zdecydowanie na 1000 metrów prowadził zawodnik z Australii z olbrzymią przewagą nad pozostałymi. O drugie wchodzące miejsce w tym biegu do półfinału walczą Czech oraz Azerbejdżan. Czech to jest zawodnik, który zdobył brązowy medal w 4 podwójnej mistrzostw świata juniorów w 2021 roku. Na ostatnim miejscu płynie zawodnik z Nowej Zelandii.
Right, this is where things are beginning to hot up now. Azerbaijan at a relatively relaxed 33. The Czech sculler responds at 37, but the Azerbaijan sculler has the better boat speed. Can he overhaul the Czech? No doubt about the leader, Australia leading the way.
Australia leading the way in style as they approach us, just shy of 500 to go, looking so calm, cool, and collected at a long 31. He can see the battle happening just behind him. That's David Barthelot from Australia out of lane 1 on the far side. And then closest to us, just coming through, well, the battle unfolding between the Czech Republic and Azerbaijan, and looking ever so close, slight advantage to Azerbaijan.
To, że David Barthelot z Australii wygra ten wyścig, to nie ulega żadnej wątpliwości. To już może 5-6 długości łodzi przewagi nad dwójką. Bahman Nasiri z Azerbejdżanu zajmuje drugie miejsce. Adam Schneider, Czech, na trzecim, ale płyną obok siebie. To jest różnica może dziobu łodzi. Daleko z tyłu, bardzo daleko z tyłu, to niespodzianka. Więcej spodziewałem się po Jamesie Scotcie z Nowej Zelandii, a tam David z Australii na czele, a o drugiej premiowany awansem do półfinału. Niezwykle zacięta walka.
An incredible effort between these two. Australia still holding the lead, dropping the rate once again, but the Czech Republic, Azerbaijan, Pete, it's not over yet.
Yeah, race on here. Bahman Nasiri doing his best to now really pull through Adam Snyder for the Czech Republic. A great third 500 for him, moving up and then pulling through. It's perhaps half a length in it as we come into the red boys between second and third, with the Azerbaijani now pulling up and trying to extend and make that lead nice and safe for the second spot into the AB semi.
Proszę Państwa, znakomity bieg reprezentanta Australii, który na torze pierwszym zdecydowanie prowadzi w tym biegu. Natomiast walka jest między reprezentantem Czech i Azerbejdżanu o drugie miejsce, które daje awans do jutrzejszego półfinału. I w tej chwili wydaje się, że to reprezentant Azerbejdżanu zajmie to drugie miejsce. Już strata do Czecha to 13 metrów. Czy tutaj jeszcze odbędzie się walka o te ostatnie metry? Czy Czech ma jeszcze siłę, żeby powalczyć? Wydaje się, że reprezentant Azerbejdżanu pod kontrolą biegnie po awans do półfinału.
Well, it's a solid win for David Barthelot of Australia, leading all the way down the course with a comfortable margin, dropping the rating to 29 as he crosses the line. And second place will go to Bahman Nasiri for Azerbaijan. They both progress to the AB semi. Third place then, Adam Snyder for the Czech Republic will go through to the C final. And then shortly after this, when we've concluded the fourth reperchage, which is the next race on the course, we'll find out where James Scott for New Zealand is going to the C or D final. We'll move quickly on to that last reperchage of the race. It's the last reperchage of the boat category. It's the last race of the day, the fourth rep for the men's singles. We've got Poland's Victor Habel, Hugo Boucheron for France, Yamao Keita for Japan, and Andre Pinto for Portugal.
Proszę Państwa, ostatni bieg dzisiejszego dnia i czwarty bieg repesażowy w konkurencji jedynek mężczyzn. Na torze pierwszym Japonia, tor drugi Polska, tor trzeci Portugalia, tor czwarty Francja. I nasze oczy kierują się na tor numer 2, gdzie płynie Victor Habel. Proszę Państwa, 800 metrów tego wyścigu Victor na prowadzeniu. Tempo wiosłowania 36-37 pociągnięć na minutę. Tuż za nim płynie Francuz Hugo Boucheron, który w tej chwili 2 metry straty. Ta różnica jest niewielka, ale tych dwóch zawodników ma już sporą przewagę przed pozostałą stawką.
Well, it's absolutely race on at the moment. Local favourite Victor Habel level with the Frenchman Hugo Boucheron as they pass the 1,000. And for the last time today, we hand you over to Robert.
Yes, two Olympians leading the way home here in this final rep of the men's single sculls. Hugo Boucheron, Olympic champion in the men's doubles, lying in second place. But good news, Victor Habel leading the way home for Poland.
Na 1000 metrów z dużą przewagą już nad pozostałymi zawodnikami dwójka olimpijczyków. Victor Habel, Polska i Francuz Hugo Boucheron. To jest mistrz olimpijski z dwójki podwójnej z igrzysk w Tokio. Na trzeciej pozycji w tej chwili płynie Portugalczyk i czwarty jest Japończyk. Wszystko wskazuje na to, że Wiktor wywalczy sobie wejście do półfinału A i B.
Well, Poland and France have such a commanding lead in this rep. Are we going to see any fireworks or are we going to see them content lying 1 and 2 with Poland leading the way over France? Behind them, well, the Portuguese sculler, who we haven't seen on the international season for some 2 or 3 years when he took part in the double scull back in Linz, and then in fourth place the Japanese sculler. But it really is looking very strong indeed for Poland and France, Colleen.
Victor Habel, we'll see if we have a look at those fireworks yet, because the battle for the front, for that top position, is certainly still on, as we saw throughout the full third quarter, and now moving into the last quarter of the race. So Poland, France nearly level.
Victor Habel na prowadzeniu, ćwierć długości łodzi przewagi nad Francuzem Hugo Boucheronem. Victor Habel ostatnio zmagał się z kontuzją, dlatego poprosił trenera, żeby wystartować tu w jedynce. Wcześniej w Mistrzostwach Polski zajął trzecie miejsce, ale z zawodu geolog piszący pracę inżynierską na Akademii Górniczo-Hutniczej w Krakowie teraz walczy na torze dzielnie z Francuzem i jestem pewien, że awansuje do półfinału.
Hugo Boucheron pushes his bow ahead, so now leading the Polish sculler, local favorite Victor Habel. Pete, it'll be an exciting end to a fantastic day of racing. We'll let you sort it out at the finish line.
Thanks, Colleen. Yeah, it really will be. It's great to see Victor Habel competing on home water here in front of a home crowd in this last race of the day. Pressure's on, though. Hugo Boucheron now moving through, so we'll see how these two settle this last 250 meters. But of course, in these positions, they'll both be progressing to exactly where they want to go, and that's the AB semi.
Proszę Państwa, 250 metrów do końca i tutaj fantastyczny wyścig w wykonaniu Polaka Victora Habla. Tutaj, proszę Państwa, liczą się 2 pierwsze miejsca, które dadzą nam awans do półfinału. Wiktor w tej chwili płynie na drugim miejscu, jednak ma sporą przewagę nad resztą stawki, aby już zacząć cieszyć się awansem do półfinału. Na pierwszym miejscu Francuz, na drugim miejscu Polak, 150 metrów do końca.
Well, neither of these leading athletes looking to bury themselves out there on the water today. They keep their rates of striking at 30 and 32, with Boucheron just pulling out to a little bit more of a lead as we come into the last 40 meters or so. Both of these athletes comfortable in the knowledge they'll be going through to the AB semi-final. Last 2 strokes, Boucheron crosses the line for the win in this fourth and last reperchage of the men's single sculls. Victor Habel takes second. They go to the AB semi-final, crossing the line for third place. Andre Pinto for Portugal, ahead of Yamao Keita for Japan. They'll go through to the C final for Pinto, and then we'll find out shortly whether it's the C or D final for Yamao. Well, folks, what a day it's been. We've had a whole morning of heats and a whole afternoon of repechages, but it's set us up so well for racing tomorrow and on Sunday. We're halfway through the number of days here at the World Rowing Cup in Poznan. Tomorrow, we've got so much to look forward to. We start off with the D final for the men's single at 9:30 tomorrow morning, and then a morning batch of C finals before the remaining semi-finals and reps. And then all that will remain after that is the afternoon session, B and A finals, and then Sunday's B and A finals. So loads to look forward to. All of the athletes now know where they're destined, and we'll be looking forward to bringing you all of that colour and action tomorrow. Racing starts at 9:30, and the lunchtime break is from 12:20 until 3 o'clock. And then from 3 o'clock, we'll have those B and A finals until the last race of the day at 4:50. Loads to look forward to, and fingers crossed it doesn't get too toasty hot. I've quite enjoyed the temperature today. It's been an absolute delight with that nice, crisp tailwind, seeing some fast times down the course. Hopefully we'll have more of that tomorrow. But just while I've got you, I want to express a huge thank you to all of the volunteers that are out there and all of the officials who've been putting in so much effort, toiling out there in the sun to make this event the great success it's been so far, and I'm sure will continue to be over the course of the weekend, where it'll be that little bit hotter. Temperatures tomorrow looking to rise all the more, getting up over 30. So do make sure you pack your suntan lotion for tomorrow and bring plenty of water to stay hydrated in that heat. My name is Peter O'Hanlon, and I've been joined up here in the tower by my Polish co-commentator Natalia Szymkowiak. And then out there on the water, we've had Tomek Kocharski, Waldek Zawołowicz, Robert Trahan-Jones, and Colleen Saville bringing you the latest action from live out there on the water. And then we've had our sports presentation team up here in the tower, and video production, AV, a whole army of people making sure that we bring you all of the latest action to those tuning in all around the world and here at the venue. It's been great talking to you about today's racing. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow, but goodbye for now.
Proszę Państwa, co za niesamowity dzień. Drugi dzień Pucharu Świata w Poznaniu w wioślarstwie, tutaj nad Jeziorem Poznańskim Malta. Za nami wspaniałe wyścigi eliminacyjne i repasażowe. I tutaj wiele się działo, jeżeli chodzi o występy Polaków. Także jutro z ciekawością patrzymy na to, co wydarzy się tutaj w Poznaniu. Zaczynamy już jutro o godzinie 9:30 finałem D w konkurencji jedynek mężczyzn i później pójdziemy z kolejnymi finałami i półfinałami. Tak naprawdę szykują się jutro wspaniałe regaty. Chcielibyśmy podziękować wszystkim wolontariuszom, organizatorom i wszystkim, którzy dbali dzisiaj o to, aby te regaty odbywały się bez problemów na najwyższym światowym poziomie. Serdeczne dziękujemy wszystkim i każdemu z osobna. Ja nazywam się Natalia Szymkowiak i dzisiaj miałam przyjemność prowadzić dla Was te regaty właśnie z wieży głównej, a razem ze mną Tomasz Kucharski i Waldemar Zawołowicz. Dziękujemy i mam nadzieję do zobaczenia jutro.